Lots of road tests on this workshop update, isn't there, Steve?
You were trying to start with something different, weren't you?
What, an
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than a so. So, 90 Hare has come in for some engine work. It's got a misfire, but also we're going to be looking at camshaft, etc. We've got a road test in a 110 with LPG, Ford Thunderbird, Morgan Plus 8, and the Cobra's come in for some work. So, let's get to it. Okay, so Steve's got the Morgan all back together, and in the background the 110 as well, so we'll visit that in a second. So the customer actually already had the Optimax ECU chip in here. We've already fitted the amplifier down into the coil, brand new Bosch coil as well. Magna core leads are already on the car, so they, as we said earlier, didn't need replacing, or as we said in our previous workshop update. So we've been out and put 20-25 miles on the car already. We'll go out for a little road test in them as well, because having a fresh engine install, again, it's key for us to put 50 to 100 miles on them. Sort of a shakedown test, make sure we're happy with everything before the customer comes and collects. The 110, moving over here. Again, all back together, up and running now on LPG as well as petrol. In reference to a question somebody posted on our YouTube channel on this, yes, it still starts on petrol, then switches over to LPG. They will, however, start on LPG. Say, for example, if your fuel pump failed, or you had an injector issue or something like that on the petrol side of things, you can start them on LPG, you can override it. And with this style of system, you don't actually need a petrol tank. We've run quite a lot of this style of engine with no petrol tank at all. And the KA project also runs with no petrol tank, just on LPG. So the lambda loop's in. We've fitted the separate lambda sensor into the exhaust system, so we're relying on a brand new lambda sensor we can trust. And the K&M with the power shroud is fitted. It's a bit dark. Oh, you've got perfect light down there, look. So that maintains vacuum in the induction pipe, so the draw-through system can suck the LPG through correctly. I think we've explained everything else in here. Obviously, ignition kit as well. This customer already had the RPI amplifier, Magna core leads, so we just gave everything a good setup there. I think there's nothing really more to say other than jump in and go for drive, Steve, don't you?
Yeah, have you got the keys?
Well, yeah, I thought you'd have them. You're driving.
We'll see.
Right, so here with handsome Steve in the driving seat.
Who has no head.
Yeah, I believe the deal was don't show the face, wasn't it?
It was.
It's just too damn handsome. Right, so this is actually Steve's first ever experience of driving a 110. As many of you who follow us know, he's owned a P38 before, so he's not unfamiliar with the V8. But a manual Land Rover 110 is something that he's not been in before. I remember my first ever experience. It was a wild ride. How's your experience, Steve?
About the same.
About the same?
It's not a P38. I still have no head.
You still have no head, no.
It's also the oldest car I've ever driven.
Yeah, A plate. What does that make it? Early 80s, I think. Was D, an 86? I'm trying to remember because my first car was a Metro on a D plate. Someone will correct us on the internet. So yeah, we're running along on LPG really nicely. Hopefully Steve's familiar with the brakes on this Land Rover already, and we'll stop at the end of this road. I'm sure he will. He's a very competent driver. I'm a very nervous passenger.
Pretty sure there are many handles. Oh no,
yes.
there aren't.
No. So yeah, what we'll do is we're just putting some miles on. We've done about 20 so far in this car. Yeah, we'll switch between LPG and petrol. Make sure everything's running properly. Also, we'll do a couple of cold starts. I'll probably take the car home this evening, so do a cold start in the morning and drive straight away. Obviously, generally when we're testing in the workshop, we are already on a warm start. Can't really show out Steve's window. Yes, I can. I can not get your head in. I might get your nose in.
It's fine, that's blurry.
Not much to see, it's just hedgerows. So, I think we'll do a couple of miles in this, Steve, and then go back and get the Morgan.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. I'm going to drive that one too.
I thought you might ask. Yeah, no, I'll have a little drive of that one.
Thought you might.
Why have you stopped?
It's your turn now.
I didn't bring a jacket or even a jumper.
Well, whose fault is that?
I didn't think this through.
Bye.
You will pick me up, right?
I might.
I think I may have got your head in then, I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm not entirely certain how Steve normally does this bit. Does he do a swoop as I go past normally? Or does he just keep this camera still? I think we'll go for a swoop. So, 3.9 fuel injected engine in here on draw through LPG with lambda loop control. Are you going to do the test?
The test?
Fifth.
Fifth.
How low will it go? What speed are you at there?
30 miles an hour now. Just lightly on the slow pedal.
What are you down to now? I can't see.
Either 10 or 20, it's not quite sure.
Okay, and you'll pull away from this in fifth?
I reckon so.
Okay. And this is on LPG, right?
Draw through LPG.
Oh, there we go, yep. Fifth gear, 10 or 20, depending on what the speed I was bouncing at. Fifth gear, pulling away. Oh yeah, there, 35. 40. Can't see it, call it out.
45.
Yeah.
50.
Not bad at all.
And that was between 1.25 on the accelerator.
Brilliant. I hear a rumble of a V8 and the tyres of a 110. There he is. I wonder if he'll stop and give you a lift. He still hasn't got used to the brakes, he's overshot. Let's check out the gas tank in the back, I think. So, the gas tank's all installed there with its airtight box and all the pipework coming out. All strapped in, bolted through the floor with load spreading washers so that obviously standard washers in the event of an accident or anything like that may pull through the floor. So, thanks for stopping.
Just about.
Yeah, I did comment that you overshot a little bit, but right.
Well, depends what I was aiming for.
This is true. Right, onwards then. Putting the seatbelt on with one hand and in the left one is not easy.
That's why I normally
We're there.
film it. There you go.
Okay. So how is your 110 driving experience V8 powered on LPG, Steve?
That's quite nice.
You get used to them, don't you? And
Yeah.
actually quite pleasurable drive out in the country on a little back road.
All I need now is a tweed cap.
A tweed cap.
Yes.
Yeah, but we'd never see it.
That's because I don't have a hip. I'd have nowhere to put it.
Right, so this concludes this section of the video. I think we're just going to put a couple more miles on this car and then head back and jump in the Morgan. So back at the Batcave, Workshop Steve is on the Thunderbird at the moment, and Steve.
Yes.
You know it's ever so complex turning off a vehicle that's running on LPG.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh, okay, you figured it.
It's not that hard.
Right, let's open the bonnet. We're already a little bit into this so far. We've got the engine stripped down with the inlet manifold off and the rocker covers off. Someone's been in here before and done some cylinder head work. Unfortunately, they fitted tin gaskets, tin head gaskets. We are going to remove these. We're going to check the crankshaft out as well, a bit what the bearings are like. The cam's being replaced. But first of all, obviously, we're just checking things over to make sure that this engine is suitable for all this work. So check the crank bearings out, pull the heads off, make sure the bores are okay. And then this will be getting composite head gaskets, Piper Torque Max camshaft, brand new push rods. Obviously, preload will be set, which it isn't at the moment. fresh crank bearings should it need it, and then everything reassembled. Already running with our ignition upgrades on this car, and then we've just got a bit of EFI wiring to double check, as with many of these conversions that are running Discovery engines in Defenders. You can see we've got the EFI relays up there on the bulkhead and the ECU down behind the airbox. The customer's not entirely certain how well it's been wired in. It's probably where one of our misfire issues are, is in a bad wire somewhere, so we'll strip the wiring loom down at the same time. On to the next bit. I don't know what it is now. Can you remember?
That.
No, that's not yet. We'll do the other bit first.
Okay, we'll do that then. We're back to the natural order of things here.
Yes.
You're over there.
And I have a head.
You do have a head.
Okay, so yeah, fresh engine here. I think I did a 20-mile trip in it yesterday, and me and Steve done a couple of miles. Other Steve, not you, Steve. Just doing setup on the road. So as soon as this traffic passes, here we are then, out in the Morgan. Same, actually exactly the same engine as what was in the Defender we were just in, assuming you edit it in the order that we've shot it.
Well, I have to now.
Yeah. So 3.9, it's got the serpentine front end on it, not that that matters. But yep, serpentine front end, and hot wire injection. So we're just putting some brake-in mileage on the engine. Every time we go out, we then just, double check everything under the bonnet, make sure everything is good. So after the last road test yesterday, everything was excellent. So no issues there. It's a little bit noisy in this though, Steve.
It's getting there.
The 110 was actually much quieter than this. You get a lot of wind noise. It gets windier at 60. Sorry, I'll say that again, it gets windier at 60!
We might have heard that one.
Okay.
Cool's nice though.
Yeah. I think there's a big rain cloud up there, Steve.
Yeah, we've been following those round.
Yeah.
Well, they've been following us.
Do you want to jump out and do some videos?
Yeah, on this bank.
Off you two. No, sorry.
I brought a coat.
Yeah, I didn't when I did my outside bit.
It's almost like one of us is a professional. Who can't get out of a Morgan.
So things we keep an eye on when we're road testing a car on a fresh engine, and I guess actually worthwhile discussing because we send a lot of our engines out to customers to fit themselves or have other garages install. Obviously we're keeping a close eye on oil pressure and water temperature. We're making sure if we're stationary the fan is coming in, bringing the water temperature back down again as it should do. We're making sure that obviously the engine sounds good, there's no knocks or clanks or ticks or anything like that, which there certainly shouldn't be from our engines. We're also trying to not road test Morgans on freshly tarmacked roads.
There's a lot of these around at the minute.
Yeah, I didn't know this was down here, otherwise I wouldn't have come down here. So we'll just take a nice steady drive down here. So yeah, all those normal things. Obviously, before we come out for road test, we've always had the engine up to temperature in the workshop first to make sure that we're not going to have any heating issues on it. We always check condition of radiators anyway when we're installing a new engine. Brand new thermostats are always used. Obviously checking the electric fan, if it's electric, works is a good idea. And if it's a viscous coupling fan, then obviously making sure the viscous is good viscous is also good practice. So yeah, I think that really covers it, doesn't it?
Just about.
Just treat it with some respect. Although it's only a 3.9 in here, it really does lend itself to some lazy driving. change up through the box really nice and quick.
Or not change at all, depending on how you're feeling.
Yeah, just pull onto a roundabout in third. I'll tell you what, we'll come off the roundabout in fifth. There you are. That's fifth.
That is fifth. What are you doing now? 20 miles an hour?
That's 40. We're going downhill, so it's not our normal test, but it just shows normal driving in fifth gear.
That bit then?
Yeah, this bit. So as you can see, the engine is now out of the Cobra. We did show it coming out on our Facebook timeline. We also removed the gearbox. On road testing this car prior to any work, which we always do, the gear stick was the worst I have ever experienced. They're normally bad in Land Rovers. This was, yeah, off the scale. The customers actually had the gearbox rebuilt twice. However, the issue isn't with the gearbox, it's with the remote. So one of the nylon bushes have actually worn there, so we're going to look at sourcing one of them. If we can't source one, we'll make one. Have some nylon and a CNC machine. Right, do you wheel this off of me or do I crawl out?
You have to crawl out.
Okay.
Just because it's funnier for me.
This was a clean t-shirt this morning.
I'm missing a bit.
Hey, you're on the right side for driving.
Yeah, I'm missing a bit, and it's scary.
So then, out in the Thunderbird. We did a little video of this, which I think Chris shared on our Facebook page just before we pulled things to bits. Obviously, it's taken a while because of importing parts from America, making sure all the bits are right, etc. Quite often, when ordering bits from America, you have to double and treble check everything. So the reason the engine was stripped down, as you said in our last workshop update, was ticking noise on this bank at the back towards the bulkhead. And yeah, we show you the damage that was found on one of the rockers. No wonder it was making a noise. The car now is beautifully silent, other than that V8 burble from the rear twin pipes, which we also modified to give a bit more clearance to the rear axle because it was clunking onto the axle. A badly produced exhaust system originally, and we also actually upgraded the rear shocks in this. So this uses the same shock absorbers as a Ford Mustang of the same era, and the back end was floaty. These should be wafty, you know, it should be absorbing the bumps and nice and smooth on the road, which it still is, but the back end had far too much rebound. So no one, we spoke to lots of people in the American car world, and everyone was like, no, you just fit these shock absorbers, and yeah, they're no good really. So we managed to find some Kona shock absorbers that were a similar specification in terms of size and stroke, and we've fitted them up, and it's absolutely transformed the ride of this car now. We've still got a really nice smooth ride. The engine is purring along beautifully. All 8 cylinders working in harmony. Little bit of a flat spot, a couple of positions on the throttle. This is running a Holly carb, which, as you know, we're not fans of. We've already had to kind of readjust it this morning because we left it last week driving you know, reasonably well, and then this morning on final road test, again, it needed a bit of readjustment. The customer's aware of that and is going to just use the car and enjoy it for a couple of summer months. Should we get a couple of summer months, and then possibly change over to the Edelbrock, much like the Mustang did in one of our workshop videos last year. That customer's been very pleased with the Edelbrock carburetor.
I do sort of feel like I should be in the back. You should be chauffeuring me.
Oh, okay. Hang on.
Now I feel like I'm getting the full experience.
Yeah, definitely so. I can't hand you the steering wheel now, though.
Yeah, well, there is about 3 cars lengths in front of me before the end of the bonnet.
So lovely sunny day. The customer's actually coming to pick this car up in a couple of hours. Yeah, I think he's really looking forward to seeing it. I think last season he was having some work done on the car somewhere else which didn't go to plan, and he lost the summer season in it. So it'll be really nice to hand the keys back to the customer for him to be able to enjoy on this glorious day. I believe his friend's coming up in a Morgan as well, so we'll no doubt show them around the workshop as we always do when customers pick their cars up or drop them off, give them the RPI tour. But I think that pretty much concludes this video. Have you managed to edit the splash screen yet, so there won't be a doodah at the end?
Yes.
Excellent. So that's the end of this then. There's no credits to roll.
We'll see you next time.